Hi, my name is Jazara Jaslyn. I find it incredibly weird to start videos. I find them very awkward. I'm talking to a green dot on my phone. It's so weird. I just have to remind myself that there will be a human being on the other side. But my eyes will probably wander because I'm struggling to connect to the dot. You are a human being and my soul loves you. That actually really felt good. It worked. I'm wearing comfy pants and socks. And then I put this on and it was comfy, and then I sat and I was like, oh my God, it looks like I'm trying to match the roses. But that actually happened organically. Really. So I was like, well, maybe it works. She smells hot. You are doing good things. Just me and my gang. Oh, a little notification on my phone come up. Oh my gosh, people are gonna think I'm absolutely bonkers. Well, I don't like sitting on my bum all the time. I have to be on my kneeling. Anyway, wow, this is gonna be a wild introduction to YouTube. Welcome. I am a storyteller at my core. I'm an actress who's journeyed more into filmmaking as a writer and a director. I'm starting to show up on here, sharing different insights and themes from my journey. This calling has been strong, and I just keep procrastinating. It's very vulnerable to just show up and be yourself on camera. And people are like, oh, but you're an actress. Okay, Felicia. Acting is when you're literally transforming into someone else's skin. Then you feel safe. Well, that's how it works for me. Being yourself, being myself on camera is very vulnerable. But nevertheless, here we are. I have a wild array of themes and insights that I've written down, just, safely kept in my little notes on my phone. Because I was like, well, what's the point? Firstly, I was terrified of people mocking me, ridiculing me, because a lot of the things that come through me are connected to a very spiritual path, meaning this is where I'm like, because these terms have become to me because they're so thrown around. Spiritual meaning what? Spiritual meaning I am not just this body. I have a deep connection to my soul, which is connected to God, and we all have different terms and labels for that, but we can't deny that feeling of presence, that otherworldly feeling, that thing that I am not just this and we are not just this. And the experiences that I've had on this path have been humbling and profound, and the only reason I would get emotional about that is because it's coming from my heart. It's like, wow, these experiences have made me remember why I'm here. And it's, to me, insane that I'm sitting here on the 2nd of October 2025, because yesterday I was literally in like this vortex of existential paralysis. I was like, what is the point? What is the point of me sharing all of this? Like, especially with where we are today. A metaphor that came to me was, that very harsh light when you're walking, in that harsh afternoon light, which is quite blinding. The harsher the light, the heavier the shadow. And that's literally where I feel like we are right now in the world. There are so many people that are awakening, and this light, which comes from our heart and our soul and our truth, which is our voice, the authentic voice, that's really starting to awaken. And I feel like people who aren't even, or who don't like to talk about spiritual things, can feel it. And what we're seeing right now, the chaos, the horrors in our world, are the shadows. We are literally unveiling very dark systems that rule the world, and very dark parts of ourselves, which I say ourselves because Teal Swan was talking about this. This is why it's so easy for us to go into you're right, I'm wrong, left, right, because it's also a distraction from doing the work yourself. Really sitting with yourself and being like, okay, what are my shadows? Where are the distorted images of myself that I don't want to see? I had no idea I was going to be going here today. So what am I doing here on earth? That's a loaded question. But what am I doing in this video? So I was walking this morning on a soccer field or a sports field. I don't know. Don't ask me about sport. My dad has been trying for many years. I was walking and the theme that came to me was walking your own path. And walking your own path, staying true to your own individual path, is to walk each other home. I get very emotional. Walking your own path is to walk each other home, and that's because the more that you really tap into your truth, your unique vibration, the things that light you up, going against sheep mentality, the more that you do that and the more that you have courage to do that and share that, it awakens that in someone else. When I was a young girl, I remember sitting in the car going to school with my dad. And what I loved so much about my school trips with my dad is my dad, wonderful, warm man, a man of few words. He doesn't talk all the time. He has the most infectious laugh, stunning. But yeah, we really bonded through music. And, you know, I just remember listening to Neil Diamond, Mango Groove, Cat Stevens, Albert Hammond, like these really old, beautiful singers. And one morning, Cat Stevens, I think the title is Father and Son, that song came on. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. And he looked at me and he was like, you see my noogie? He called me noogie. That's it. You'll find a lovely man one day. You'll get married. You'll get a good job. And then you'll have kids of your own. And I just remember literally being like, with the seatbelt on, I was like, that sounds absolutely awful. I just remember being like, I don't want to follow those steps. I don't want to know what the steps are even. Like that's, you know. But in the moment, of course, I was so young. I was just like, okay. And I just thought it was such a cool, what just happened? What is happening in this video? Yeah, we just fed this path from such an early age, and not, you know, everyone's different. And like for my dad, for instance, I'm sure as a child he loved having those steps. Like that's what you do, you know. And that's great. And a lot of people feel safe by being like, this is what you do in society, and this is, you know. Alan Watts talks about it so beautifully, about how we're told from a young age, you know, you do this and then you go into grade 1, and then from that you're luring them in this corridor, and then you get to 40 and you say, well, you know, the thing is coming, it's coming, and then you reach 40 and you're working in insurance, and you say, well, my God, I've arrived, and that's it, and you feel a little bit disappointed because you're like, well, you know, that was kind of verbatim of how Alan Watts puts it, which I just love. You know, you get the more naturally open minds or critical thinkers, and I'm not saying that people who follow that narrative aren't, but you do get the minds where at a young age, like me, where I was like, well, that's absolutely not sounding like the path I want to take. And so already there was this thing that was like, that doesn't resonate for me. And then I just remember sitting on the hockey field at school. I think we were like 15 or 16, and everyone was just saying at what age they wanted to get married and what their dress looked like and how many babies they'll have. And it was just this whole white picket fence dream. Yeah, it felt so narrow for me. And I think I said at the time, I was like, I want to get my crazy out. But what I meant really was, I just want to be passionate and travel the world and learn about different people and cultures. And it's just interesting because I had that as a young girl, and then at 16 again. And it's interesting because there's a very maternal essence to me, especially when I'm grounded. But I don't feel that's my purpose in this life, and that might change in 5 years because things change. What just came to me now was, I had a friend whose neighbors were it was on a farm, and their children, it's so interesting, my perception of these children on my journey of, opening and remembering and changing myself. So I first met these children, this family that were homeschooling their children, and I went to an all-girls Christian school. And I really enjoyed my schooling. I had a beautiful, obviously we all have stuff when we're growing up, but I really enjoyed my schooling. And I think the school I went to had a lot of beautiful traditions, and it was very based in community. And so I've fond memories, but it definitely made me look at the world in a certain way. And I looked at these children and I honestly thought, God, like, shame, like, how are they going to socialize? I was very judgmental of that system of schooling, of them being brought up at home amongst each other. The years go by and I start to get to know these children. These children were literally the most alive, curious, wildly intelligent children I have ever met in my entire life. What I realized was that these children weren't put in a line and told what to learn. They had a system of things they had to learn, but they were really encouraged to follow what lights them up. And what that did for them was they never switched off to learning. They never said, okay, I have to learn this for a test. I have to memorize this. I mean, when I think about my high school years, I can't remember anything I learned in biology. Osmosis is a word I remember, and I do remember what osmosis is, but I parrot learned. I wanted to get good grades. Nothing stayed inside. I realized something is quite amiss in the way that we are bringing children up. In the bigger picture, I just find it interesting that we don't really, I think we are feeding individuality and critical thinking, but I think it's very warped. I don't think we're conditioned to actually do that at all. And anyway, coming back to the theme of walking your own path, I think that things are changing at the moment, meaning we are slowly realizing that pushing people to really follow what lights them up is important on so many levels. But that said, we are still living in a society that is very how do I say it? Still very in a container of how sheep mentality, I think is what I mean. Is we still are quite herded into certain directions, and why that matters is because I still feel for myself that even following my own intuition takes so much courage. Even starting to share things like this, I kept looking for permission slips from other actors. I'm like, which other actors do I know that are writing about synchronicity and moments that they heard God, and writing poems infused with prayer, and and then I was like, but why? Well, the people that I kept talking about, why do you need that? Like, you are you. And I think the bigger thing is that, well, we as humans, we tend to, especially with social media, we labeling, we saying we are this, I am this, I am this. And it is a bit unique and different for someone to suddenly be an actress and then also be a mystic. It doesn't seem to, it's not something that you see every day. And so then I'm like, well, surely I shouldn't be doing this. It's a bit weird, and how I'm going to be received. But then a lot of it was always about the perception, right? And that's also part of our conditioning in society. It's a very show and tell at the moment. It's all about social media and you're a brand, and I don't resonate to that. And just speaking that, sitting here in my own space and saying that doesn't really resonate to me is so liberating. And I think the more that we allow ourselves the space and the courage to do that, this is how we slowly change the world. It sounds so dramatic, but that's just a theme that keeps coming back to me, is amidst all of this chaos and the world essentially feeling in many ways like it's burning, especially if you're sensitive, you feel so powerless. You're like, what can I do? What is in my power to do? Again and again, it comes back to actually going within and feeling where can you heal? Where can you become a better person? Where can you listen to your authentic self? And if more people slowly do that, I just keep seeing like little lights switching on all around the world. That is literally how we are going to have change. And I actually wrote about that the day, and I was like, oh my God, it just sounds so cliched. Like Khalil Gibran, who says, be the change you want to see in the world. But like, again and again, when I go into these vortexes of, oh my God, and existential dread and just horror, seeing what's going on in the world, it's all part of it, because we're here at this time, seeing and witnessing and feeling this as a collective. But then, okay, well, what is in my power? What can I do? And it sounds almost small to say, well, go within, but it's not. It's huge. It's huge, especially because at the moment with social media and everything, we are being conditioned to forget our own critical thinking and our own what's true for me. Not what I'm being told, not what I'm being shown, what is true for me. And we need time and space to be able to do that. And with social media and these things, what it's doing is it's taking us into one thing, and we're forgetting to look around and be present. So this train of thought has essentially taken me to being present and going within. And old me is with me as well. And she's like, okay. I mean, I used to, send people up with the whole holding your heart thing, but I get it now, because this is actually a very, when you speak from your heart, if you watch a lot of different people, even in life, I've noticed when you see someone trip, sometimes people do this, they'll be like, it's because we are drawn to our heart chakra. And actually holding this space really does help me speak from here, as opposed to jumping out of myself and thinking about how I'll be perceived and all of that. So anyway, the last thing I want to say is getting to this place of actually sitting here and making a video has been chaotic. But the feeling that I've kept trusting has been this peace, this expansion, this beautiful opening. And that's the feeling you feel when you get a creative idea, an urge that your soul is pushing you to do. The reason it's being chaotic is because my egos come in all the time, trying to keep me safe, trying to say, this isn't how you used to operate, this is, and then it goes into, this one will say this. And a lot of the time, the people that I imagine judging me aren't even in my life anymore. So it's all these sort of old programs trying to keep me stuck, but I have to have compassion, because I know it's wanting to keep me safe. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because chaos is ego. Chaos is, yeah, it's not the soul. But because we are both, that's bound to happen. And trusting that grounded, expansive voice, which can be very uncomfortable because a lot of the time it's going to take you out of old ways and old familiar ways of being. That's your intuition, and that's you just have to keep following the, following the urges. Walking your own path is walking each other home. The more that we all do that, the more that we are going to shift a lot of frequency on the planet, and the ripple effect of you showing up with authenticity and truth is so much bigger than I think a lot of us think. Just follow your intuition. As I find the opening of videos very awkward, the closing is the same. I feel like I need to sing Kumbaya. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna. We're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it. I would love to sing The Circle of Life though by The Lion King. Hi. Guys, how beautiful is The Lion King? Anyway. We're going to be doing spirals throughout this life. Right, so that's... Bye.